Welcome to the Chop Shop, your midday sports happy hour. Yours truly, Jim Hicks, live in the flesh, of course, in Houston. Robert Haller is on location with Texas Southern University men's basketball team. They will be in action in about an hour, taking on Alabama. I think it's one of the Alabama teams in the SWAC tournament. But anyway, shout out to the TSU women's basketball program who picked up a big win by eliminating Prairie View in their first game in the conference tournament on yesterday. So shout out to that. Alasia Fantroy had a double-double in that particular win. So TSU's women continues to make their presence felt in the postseason. I think they will have a bye to the next round, and so that's good for those ladies. Men are in action today again as the SWAC tournament resumes up in Atlanta, Georgia, and we're rooting for TSU. Prairie View was eliminated on yesterday. Big upset in the HBCUs in the SWAC tournament. How about Grambling sending Southern home? It took overtime, took extra period, but the G-men got that thing done. So of course Southern was one of the favorites, and they're out of the way. Johnny Jones and crew, he's been here, done this before. Let's see if they can keep this thing popping. Shout out to everybody, of course, that are piling into. We'll give you the starting five as customary. And what I normally do is I put them on the screen so everybody can see you. We got a lot of cover on this day. We're gonna continue the conversation what we wanted to continue on yesterday. However, we had those visual and audio difficulties going into the second hour. Jeremy Davis, shout out to you. You make my starting five. How about Corey Willis? I see you. Of course, Darrell Anderson, he's selling the 7 C's. He's in Antigua, I'm sorry. And shout out to Darrell Anderson. Everybody that's watching or listening around him, shout out to y'all too. Put something else in your glass. You know you got a wristband. You can drink free on that boat. Go get some more stuff. It ain't never too early to start sipping somewhere. Also, we got Derek Douglas. He make the starting five. And last but not least, we have Brandon Wheatfall in that starting five. Man, we got NCAA conference tournaments are in motion right now on a lot of different networks, as it is on that Thursday. Right now, Georgia Tech, Robert Haller, of course, I know he had not went to. Well, that's right, they're not in Atlanta. But Georgia Tech is not in Atlanta. They're in the conference tournament. But Georgia Tech is up on Duke right now, early in the second half, just underway. So could an upset be in the making for Damon Stoudemire and his troops? Also, we go around the horn. I got some stuff on. We ain't got to open the phone lines today. I've been working, guys. You know, spring icebreaker time. I'm bogged down with a lot of different things that I'm tasked with, and I'm looking. I missed one score to give you guys. Jackson State beat Florida A&M in SWAC conference tournament play, 91-76. And I told you TSU is Alabama State. They're playing. That's 1 p.m. Central Time. That game tips off. The other men's game today is Alcorn and Bethune-Cookman. That's a 7:30. And you can watch TSU on the ESPN Plus network. You can watch them there. Cut the volume down and put it on the 90.9 KTSU app and listen to the broadcast with with Chatterbox, Robert Hatter, Kevin Adams, and sometimes even Kevin Allen will be on that broadcast. So check them out. I suggest you cut the volume down on the visual and pump it up on that KTSU app. So we take you for a lap, of course, with in NBA, of course, news. Man, it was a good game last night. The Thunder, OKC Thunder, knocking off the Celtics. Do you guys? I mean, it kind of reminds me of the OKC Thunder and the Cleveland Cavaliers. It's like it reminds me of when the Houston Rockets won that first one. Not many people were taking them serious because the Chicago Bulls had been so dominant, winning that 3 in a row. Then when Houston was winning, and remember we came from that, and Rudy Johnson goes and make this statement, hard to underestimate, the champion and whatnot, and everything went viral. But in this case, that's different from the Rock. This team has the best record, these two teams, by far in the NBA. And it's still it almost feels like the guy that's driving the Bentley, but he worked for it. He got a 9 to 5, and he drives the Bentley versus Big Pookie. Big Pookie gets a different degree of street cred with his Bentley versus the guy that's what it feels like when I'm listening to people talk about these two teams, about the Cavs and OKC Thunder. Cavs just won last night, and they won 15 straight games twice this year. And it ain't but like 4 or 5 teams that's ever done that in the history of NBA, of modern day history. 15 in a row, twice in the same season. And they're just grooving, they're having fun. And it was, remember, during the off season, they almost lost Spider. They almost lost him. And these guys are rolling, and it's going to be intriguing. I'm liking what I'm seeing. Far as you want to see new storylines in the NBA, and these are definitely 2 of them. The Cleveland Cavaliers, OKC Thunder. One is 55-10. The other one is 54-12. Very compatible. And it's and as soon as you say, well, now people say, well, we'll see what they do in the postseason. What round would qualify as a huge disappointment for the OKC Thunder? They're playing with house money in the regular season right now. Doesn't matter what they do the rest of the way. Think about it. We are 66 games in. There are only roughly 16 games left. There are roughly 16 games left. And, that number 1 seed is locked in pretty much. Pouring a colossal meltdown, especially by Cleveland, who's ahead of Boston by 8.5 games, while OKC is 12 games up on Denver and Memphis. It's going to be intriguing. So that's going to be, and just pay attention. This thing down the street, the Rockets, they picked up a good win. Good win from them last night over the Phoenix Suns. Rockets. I heard one guy, I was in a restaurant, it's date night, restaurant, we was eating, and one guy sitting not far from me and Sandra, he was like, man, the Rockets sure do fight a lot. I said, they sure do win a lot, too. And, but we have I got somebody to show y'all in just a second, right? Got somebody to show y'all. We're going to get this. We got somebody to show y'all right there. Look what I got for y'all.
What's up, everybody? Wait a minute, I can't hear y'all.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, y'all can hear me now?
Yeah.
What's going on, man? I'm in the arena. If you can see Arkansas, Alcorn and Alabama A&M women and are playing against each other. 56 to 53 with 15 seconds left. We should be right behind
hold on. Who winning? What? That's an upset. That's an upset. Huh? Yeah, you know, hey, my little, look. My little niece playing for Alabama A&M.
What's her number?
The last name Wilkerson.
Okay.
Wilkerson.
I usually know most of the players. I usually know most of the players, but I don't know your name.
No. She out there sweating. Ain't no doubt about that. Yeah.
Don't let me go to my briefcase.
Go check your briefcase out. Yeah. Her first name is Malin Wilkerson. Malin.
I think I remember the name.
What you mean you think you remember that? Dude, she's from Houston, Texas. She started at Summer Creek High School. Malin went to Arkansas State and then transferred to Alabama A&M to get to HBCU. I know her name.
Hold on, I'm trying to get my device here. I hate to be moving around, y'all, but I'll worry about it later.
Yeah, Rick Goffney put. Hold on. Hey, look, I'm gonna put it on the broadcast. Look, Rick Goffney knows her. Look, he says. There you go. You don't. That's Terry Miller's daughter. Yeah.
Terry Miller, I'm sorry, man. I don't know your daughter. My man.
No, Terry. Okay, the Malin, her mother and her father both went to high school with me at Cashmere. Her mother is the proprietor of Miller and Sons Record Service. So Terry Miller and her daddy, which named Robert Miller, we called him Jukebox back in the days. Jukebox founded that. So everybody on the northeast side used to know Jukebox because he used his gave back to the community. So had a football team program called the All Stars, which everybody who played football back then. But Malin, I think she wears number 1, Alda. I think she wears number 1.
Okay. I'm looking her up right now. And then I'll know when she's on the floor right now.
Wow, I can't believe. I was looking forward to TSU playing little Malin again in the semifinal. Dang. So now she going home.
Well, they've been called they've about to call the hotel and said, we're not staying.
You don't need no late checkout? Late checkout?
Yeah, late checkout. And I like their coach too, man. I like Dawn. That's what I mean. I like Dawn. I like her. She's the diva coach.
She the one that ain't be wearing all them old tight ass clothes on the sideline, ain't it?
So you see what her last name again?
Wilkerson.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Number 1. Yeah. Let me see the game. Hold on. She was not in the game at the end of the game, and she lost.
She probably fouled out.
Man, it's over. My guy's about to come down. What's up, everybody? Hey, Jimmy, we in this beautiful place in Atlanta. Where the Atlanta Dream plays. Right? Jimmy, unbelievable. I mean, venue, man. It's right at the airport, near the airport. hotels right near the airport. I mean, we just been having a good time. Now the women won yesterday, and now the men getting ready to play in a few minutes. Oh, Ashley Robinson about to pass by me right now. Mr. Robinson, how you doing, sir? How you doing? We'll see. Hey, I hope to see you soon. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that Jackson State. Jackson State. You owe Jackson State one. You owe them one.
Oh, yes, sir. Yes, sir. They good. Hey, Jim, they good. They good. They got 2 B's. They got
Well,
6
they
letters, 6
they you
letters.
know why they got better, because they had some people that had to leave and get in the transfer portal and get away from that. They got better
Hey,
by.
man, stop that, man. Stop that, man. Stop that. Stop that messing, Marvin. Stop that. But, man, so what y'all been talking about before I came?
Hey,
Shout out Mighty Mike. Don't you shout out Mighty Mike yet?
no, I ain't got to the high school yet. I was talking NBA talk first. I was talking about the Cavaliers, the won 15 straight twice, and then OKC Thunder went over there and just went up in Boston and just opened up a can of whoopers on Boston last night. And so so now it's 16 games left in the regular season, and are you rooting for this story? Do these two teams meet up? Does it hurt the NBA if they meet up in the championship?
I don't know that. I'm not rooting for them, but I don't know if it hurt the NBA. I don't think nothing can hurt the NBA, man. It's a 75-year institution that's going to be around for 75 more years. So I don't think nothing can hurt it. The ratings are, I don't know what people are talking about. Everybody making money. Everybody, I mean, the NBA is good. You know, if you listen to the narrative of what people say all the time, then maybe you be caught up. But it don't matter who, man. I'm telling you. Who's in the finals, people gonna watch. If you don't like NBA, you ain't gonna watch no way. So, I wouldn't care for either team. Because I like the teams that I like. I like the Warriors. And who else I like? Whoever my guys' teams are. Sam the one and Boston, so I don't care for them to win again. I don't really like OKC, so I wouldn't want them to win. Wanted Dallas to win until Kyrie got hurt. So, man, I'm good. So, hey, NBA gonna be all right with Jimmy. I just want to tell y'all how I got to get down here, so I got to get my stuff set up. But I just want to tell you, the Tigers will be on in about 30 or 40 minutes, and I'll see y'all then. So I probably will be able to come on the show tomorrow, but I'll let you know. But I'm out of here, man. Have a good show.
You say tomorrow?
Tomorrow, yeah. Tomorrow is what? Thursday, right? What's the day? Oh, ain't no tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
I might come on. No, I might not be. Okay, we won't be there tomorrow. Jimmy, you know what I do sometimes that I feel like it? At nighttime, I come give everybody a recap. There's a lot of stuff happening down here that I want to share with y'all, but I'll share with y'all next week. Okay? So I'm out of here. Bye.
All right. That of course, that was Robert Hatter, live from Atlanta at the SWAC Championships, and which is taking place right now and through the weekend. Texas Southern University men's basketball is hold on, yeah, there we go. So now we'll finish talking, slide over and give you guys some news in regards to college recruitment. And we talked a little bit about that on yesterday. And my thing is, I try to educate you guys, and we talk some, but I need you guys to share the show. Let's share the show, and as we do it, definitely, I'm thinking that SGA is going to continue the streak of foreign-born players to winning the most valuable player. It's down between him and Joker it appears, and with a slight edge going to SGA at this point. I'm going to tell you something. I always get smile on the inside whenever it's one of these young men end up committing to a school. It's even better when they keep us abreast of the news well in advance or in a timely manner. But one that's is finally can exhale, and that is at Shadow Creek High School, Michael Collins has committed to Louisiana Lafayette, the Raging Cajuns, who recently, earlier this week, announced, over the weekend, announced their new head coach. It's Quantus White. He's from New Orleans, played at Oklahoma, University of Oklahoma for the Sooners, under Kevin Sampson, which whereas he would later in life, most recently, technically serves under Coach Sampson as an associate head coach. A lot of people in the basketball loops knew that Quantus White was in line for a job and would not be on that bench alongside Coach Sampson much longer. A lot of people knew that. So it's time for this egg to have hatched, which is great because his first gig puts him roughly an hour and a half from home, from New Orleans. He's in Lafayette, Louisiana, which is perfect for him because having been able to recruit mostly, in this region, he's not stuck all the way down at the bottom. He can get to Mississippi quick. He can get to Texas quick. He can stay in roaming about the cabinet. He can get to Arkansas if he need to in a good, quick manner. Great for Quantus, and it's also even greater for his first signee, first committee to be a player from H-Town, which he's very familiar with. Understand something. University of Houston, right, has one young man, right, on their roster from Shadow Creek High School. They have another player that's signed. It's a senior right now at Shadow Creek High School. Quantus White has been in that gym many of times. And that's why I tell people all the time, some coaches are recruiting for their future. Just because they may not be able to use you at their current job, certain coaches, right? Certain coaches, they knowing what's in their future, and they're seeking out and looking for, okay, I'm in for this gig. If I get this gig, I'm taking him with me. I'm going to so at some point, people, this is one of the advantages, that if you're likable, if certain coaches recruit you, some of them talk to their comrades, talk to their allies, and they'll let people know, hey man, I saw this one kid, either A, I don't think we can use him, he's not good enough for us. You might want to see it, check him out. Or B, man, he's probably too good for us. I'm gonna shoot at him, but he's, with this NIL stuff. And now, going up in there, Michael Collins should be able to get him a pack of now laters and a tank of gas out of some NIL from Louisiana Lafayette. That's great, man. Great. Perfect place. Because let me tell you guys something. You might not understand this. Let me educate you. Whenever you have a new head coach, and that new head coach has a pre-existing connection or a relationship with one of his first signees, Listen to me now. That coach is going to give that player as much rope as he needs to succeed. Some people say I'm gonna give enough rope to hang himself. That's a different whole. That's looking at the glass half empty. That coach, because I'll explain to you why. If you jump and sign or get a commitment from a player within 72 hours of getting a new job, and you don't play him or give him the opportunity to play initially, then that means that your eyeball wasn't that good. That's what that could mean. So you're going to go out on a limb and say, well, I trust Quantas White's eyeball. For him to go on, Mike Collins is going to get the opportunity to audition for a huge bag. Meaning that people going to come out, it's going to up his ante at Louisiana Lafayette, or it's going to make other people take notice. He's going to get the opportunity. Remember, the same thing happened with Shaka Smart. When he got the making sure you guys there. We had a couple of hiccups, audio hiccups, and now I think we're still rolling. Now, we have to reshare the show. I don't know what happened, but I know it definitely is on my end. And if you guys would share the show now, and that's the way people can be able to come back into the feed. We're talking about University of Houston. We're talking about Quantas White. And you guys have questions, we would definitely. Big coach say Mikey is going to be just fine with Q at Lafayette. He'll end up starting, if not right out the gate, at least by conference play. Well, he's going to get the opportunity. Like I was mentioning you about the Shaka Smart. His first signee, his first commit, first pledge was Jacob Young from Yates High School. He was playing with the Dwight Howard Elite at the Adidas event. He was leading the Adidas circuit in scoring. So Shaka went and saw Jacob. Now the team was in nearby last place, but Jacob was getting paid while they was getting their butts whooped. So he saw him, he saw something he liked, saw something he identified with, and Jacob Young got a chance early on. He had the opportunity. Fair game. And that's the part I'm talking about. You got fair game. So that means I'm expecting for Mike Collins. And that's Mikey Collins, Coach Favre, Mike Collins, to get a good opportunity. That's what you see. That's part of the thing. If you can get a coach and you get an opportunity like that, especially a new coach, because a new coach, understand something. If the existing personnel in the program is that good, the previous coach wouldn't have got fired. Well, not fired, but I'm not in this situation. Let's erase that chalkboard. If the existing personnel was that good, then that coach, if he left and went somewhere else, one or two of them were going to follow that coach. Because they believed he enabled them and tapped into and developed or provided them full opportunity to maximize their talents. Or you look at it whereas a guy come up in there and his head coach, he's not going to want to get it done with all of the new players unless that team had already been epically winning. Then you go and use those players or they right there at the cusp. In this situation, you know what? I wouldn't be surprised if at least one of the University of Houston players transferred to Lafayette. I wouldn't be surprised. Could be two. One for sure. Over and under. So the over and under be 1.5. Would transfer because U of H got a lot coming in next year. They got a lot of mouths to feed next season. And that ain't counting the portal. U of H has sexism to those portal kids now. You talking about a 20, a 19, 20, 21, 22-year-old kid, young man. They hearing about the Sunday fun days. They do it too. They just got their places, different places they go than where grown folk go. So they hear about the weather is good when it's good. You're gonna get your fair share. It's gonna be warm, but that's what air conditioning for. H-Town is a strong magnet right now for people in general. So University of Houston gonna get something out of that portal, as they should. All right, as they should. And of course, somebody asked, who would he take with him? And Herb said he would most likely take his brother with him. He's an assistant at Texas Southern University. Yeah. Yeah. But this is, that means now, does University of Houston, who fills Quantas White's spot? Meaning I'm expecting for Kellen Sampson to propel up, everybody get who gets that added to the staff. Do you hire, move up, and promote from within? That way you keep the family vibe going? Or do you hold in the cut for maybe a guy that's with head coaching experience that can go in and be an extension, get a different room and give you a different angle? Something like Rodney Terry, if he's available, as he expected to be, unless he wins the Big 12 conference tournament. And even then, will that even be enough? It's my partner right there. They show done him bad up there in Austin, man. RT. So RT is from Houston, right outside a community called Angleton, Texas. In case you guys didn't know, his family still lives down up in Angleton. So RT is on the board, on the clock. Do you? Which he's going to understand. First of all, he wouldn't need to land on his feet next year. It's a $5.8 million buyout from University of Texas, which they're gonna lick their thumb and get it done. And so, yeah, that's definitely what I would not be surprised if it happened. Herb says Anthony Goldwire will be moved up to an assistant position. I think he's ready. He's ready. So, but once again, it's tight family. That's part of their culture. They know, and who next up, of course, Kellen Sampson is the head coach in waiting. That was per his contract. Remember, they did an eye-opening contract extension that pretty much put him in writing as a coach in waiting. But if they went in a different direction, they would have to pay him like $2 million. If University of Houston went against Kellen Sampson, it could have to pay him as much as $2 million. I think it staggers as the years go by. I don't know what year this is now. Maybe 3 since he signed that deal, maybe 2. But yeah, it's a hell of a creative clause in the contract. So that means U of H don't have to, if and when Big Chief decides to take off his whistle and grab his peace pipe and light that thing up, fire that thing up like he was Herb Baker, probably right now. Literally. So, as I mentioned, you just tuned in. Michael Collins is off the board. He's going to Lafayette. There's a slew of guards in the area that are available. I mean, a host of them that are available. And there's going to be a lot of college coaches in town tomorrow for the Unsigned Senior Showcase that tips off the spring icebreaker. There's going to be a lot of coaches in town for that. A few. We're not talking about, it's going to be enough. So many of these guys on the list would have probably benefited by auditioning or even stopping by to just shake the hands of some of these coaches. At some point in time, a lot of you guys out there waiting on a Division I bus that ain't stopping at your location. A bus that ain't coming. So at this point, you better take what you can get and get it out the mud. You're not the first and not going to be the last. Not the first and not the last to go and miss the mark on your goal of playing Division I basketball, only to have to go to JUCO or NAIA or Division II or Division III, and then play your way up if possible, or get the opportunity to play your way up. You follow me, guys? And so I'm looking at that list, and BJ Gill from Iowa Colony, Braden Campbell from Angleton, Calvin Murphy III from Yates, Cortland Sloan from Worthing, David Chung from Dickinson, Derek Buckner Jr., Humble High School, Dylan Baker, Friendswood, Ian Lowe from Thurgood Marshall, Elijah Black and Jaden Holt from Katie Jordan High School, Caden Davis from Yates, Cam Newsom, Travis, Kabari Lewis from Cypress Creek High School, Noah Benny, Fort Bend Christian, Noah Newman from Good Vision Academy, Quentin is gone, Scotty Guillory from the Legacy the School of Sports Sciences, and Terry Satcher from Beaumont Westbrook. Those are about 18 available guards in Greater Houston. Many of them, a couple of them might have stuff on the table, might have offers on the table from some smaller schools. But this is the time you get serious about this stuff and stop playing around with it. This is the time when you go and you take your visits. They can bring you on campus as well. And you can give yourself an advantage while you have time on your side. These schools are flirting with, some of these non-Division I schools are flirting with you high school kids, but they're waiting with a big net for the transfer portal as well. They're waiting. That portal is Man, that thing there's like recess in elementary school. Everybody waiting on. Waiting to go to recess. It's like chow time in the joint. Everybody waiting on chow time. Hell, no. Like mail call in the joint. Everybody waiting on mail call. Well, not everybody. Some people know ain't nobody for the right their ass. They were so bad to them on the street. So big coach say some of the kids you named have already committed. Some just got the news. Of course, Herb says Dylan Baker committed to the University of St. Thomas yesterday. What other kids that were on this list committed? Who else? Who else? Some of them. Some means a few. Who else committed from there? So we can make note of it. But shout out to Dylan Baker. If he took care of his business and didn't play around, University of St. Thomas. Winning program, man. Winning ways. Yeah, Jalen Johnson is a great example of getting out the mud. You're right. Went to Summer Creek High School. They had a little turbulence over there between him and one of the other guards. The other guard who was better, and the one guy, because they both the same size, don't make us both the same type of prospects. And eventually time would tell, and Jalen Johnson appears to have the biggest smile on his face right now. So I'm looking, and of course, big coach has answered. He says Buckner has committed, Gill has committed, and Baker has committed. Oh, that's right. Well, I know R.J. Green had committed. Is B.J. Gill going to the same college with R.J. Green committed to? Did he take both of them? But just list, big coach, what schools that these guys committed to. That makes it easy and saves us all some time in regard to that. But there's a lot of those guys that are on the table, that are available. But if you're available and this is the reality, then guys, you got to understand something. You got to, it don't stop. It never stop auditioning or marketing yourself. That makes me think and share with you guys this postseason, as I was talking yesterday, one of the topics. The high school season enables a lot of young men, a lot of young women to play themselves into favor of college coaches. It does. But the odds are against you in the scholastic sense because there's less college coaches that are likely to come and watch you during the season for those Division I prospects. The legit, real Division I prospects. Because if somebody thought you was a legitimate Division I prospect and they are sponsored by a sneaker program, trust me, they are going to recruit you. I say this again. If any of these sneaker programs if they haven't called you, that don't mean you're not a Division I prospect. That doesn't mean that. That simply means that they collectively, not because collectively, that's only for the people that ain't nobody called. You follow me? Not if one called for you and one didn't. No, not talking about y'all. We talking about those those players out there, 12th graders or 11th graders going to the 12th grade, 11th grade going to the 12th grade. All you 12th graders now that was think back on your year. If none of these the legitimate sneaker sponsor pro, the ones that actually has a financial budget, anybody, the product stuff, that's anybody can get that. That's some friendly stuff. But if none of them never called you, then that means collectively they don't think that you are a Division I prospect, that you're not there yet. You got work to do. And that's, guess what? You get better. You come back, like Scarface say, she'll love me in the morning. You know? So, see, Kevin Drones just hopped in and chopping up was on the Chop Shop. But understand, so there are forwards. That list was deep with guards. Look at how deep it is with forwards. Aiden Williams from Barbers Hill. Chaz Dubois from Summer Creek. David Mercer, Port Arthur Memorial. Damari Pritchett, Summer Creek. Didi Zangum from Good Vision. Elijah Sherwood, Hitchcock. Jackson Seastrunk from Xavier Academy. Big tall Jaden Evans from Iowa Colony. Jeremiah Cooper from Westfield. Joaquin Andrews from Stratford. Somebody just mentioned about Stratford kid a while ago. Joaquin Andrews. Jude Olukin, who just played in the state championship game with Katie Jordan. Turned a few heads. Cameron Hamilton. He played in the state championship with Wheatley, the tall, slim kid. Kevin Sargent. He played in the state championship with Thurgood Marshall. Legbosi Mato from Bush High School. Luke Hinchcliffe from Friendswood. Samuel Johnson just played in the state championship game with Booker T. Washington. He's the valedictorian of his academic class and took his team to the state championship. Shaham Patel, Fort Bend Austin. Skylar Holt from Stafford High School. Timmy Ibikunle from Travis High School. And of course, Anthony L.J. Andrews from Bel Air High School just played in the state championship game with Bel Air. Now, however, he picked up 2 offers, at least 2, in the past 10 days. Picked up 2 offers in the past 10 days. Playing playoff basketball. Playoff basketball will get you offers if you're playing playoff basketball. Some people can play playoff style basketball in mid-season. They say, oh man, you know how you see some people like, man, he in mid-season form. Oh man, he in playoff form. You're playing a different level. This young man, LJ Andrews, he made enough spin moves that many guys in college can't make right now. Converted without falling down. You know? And he picked up off from TSU and then picked up off from Prairie View the next day. I'm hearing any day now, he's expected to make his decision, which I'm thinking is already made. You just want to make the decision to release it. It's already made. He knows where he's going. You know? It's kind of like me doing the schedule for the spring icebreaker. I said, well, schedule going to be released Wednesday night. Hell, it was already done Tuesday night. Just wanted to proof it a little bit. I released it when it was time. I know everybody was, the tension was undivided. But this young man. So all in all, in Greater Houston, Michael Collins off the board. Anthony L.J. Andrews is literally off the board. It's not official yet, but so how many other Division I signees do you literally expect from the high school 12th grade class of 2025 to out of H-Town? How many more? What's your over and under? I'm just curious. You guys can respond to me in the boom boom room. I'm waiting. Just a little slight delay. We got a question meanwhile. Doc Nelson, first time on the Chop Shop. It's another young up and coming former player, current college coach. Just got his first gig at Ranger Junior College. He's going to be one of the coaches in town for the Spring Icebreaker, the RCS Sports Unsigned Senior Showcase. Tomorrow, that's Friday from 12 to 4:30. Just say 12 to 5. Make it sound better to you. At ULH Event Center, which is right off the intersection of Imperial Valley and the Beltway 8. I'm telling you, this thing here is going to be a great look on tomorrow. And the thing that just sometimes it gets a little bit disappointing is in the fact that every doggone year, see, people are, here's the thing how it goes. First, it's the top of the hour. So let me go on and crack open. Let me crack open me a good sport. You guys know how I do. I roll 1,600 electrolytes in this baby right here. Let me get y'all. There you go. Good sport. Y'all ain't, look. Oh yeah. That thing that might make me run around, fly around the room like one of them gremlins, man. All the energy in that build, in that joint. But as I'm looking, I see some of the, talking about the unsigned senior. A lot of people are influenced and they're getting this to this time of the year, and then people, grown folk, would tell the people, well, you don't need to do that. You don't need to do that. Guess what? That's life. I get it. No problem. But how about you ask the question, why not? Why not this one? Why not that one? And then if college coaches are there, and many of the grown folk who may be of influence to these kids, and you're making them think that you don't need to do this. The lowest priced unsigned senior showcase probably in the state for as major platforms. And you're going to persuade them that you don't need to do this because I got all these schools, I got you covered. They calling me every day. They got them, Well, if that's the case, they wouldn't be in this damn position that they are in right now if you could have had that type of magic wand. Many of these kids wouldn't be in this position. Confused. Many of them wouldn't be disappointed. Many of them wouldn't be, how would you say it, depressed. And that goes and brings us to think about another situation that took place recently in the area. Right? There was, in case you guys didn't know, there's a young man, right, that is a student athlete at C. King High School, and he took his own life the other day. And as a result of a gunshot, self-inflicted gunshot wound. And it's sad because he left a letter, he left a note. Tell me that my sources tell me that his brother was at home with him, and his brother went to the dollar store to get some items and reached back to call little brother and, you know, make sure if he wanted something or needed something or that we forgot something. And then little brother went into a tantrum, and the older brother could hear the gunshot going off through the phone. And it is believed that, according to my sources, that one of the things that this young man was depressed about was because he did not, his basketball did not result or yield the rewards or the fruits of his of his labor. Didn't go like he wanted or planned for it, hoped to, it went. And this is why I tell you guys a lot of times, I say, man, if you can concentrate on with these young people, if you can just zoom in on trying to just make them develop their ability to solve problems. That may not solve the world, but it could help a person because they will feel like you're giving them a cheat code in life. And ain't nothing wrong with a cheat code. Hell, when I was in grade school, middle school, I would leave school before we get home sometimes. I would stop by the old corner store or the grocery store. And just like you see in some of the corner stores now, they have those gambling machines. Well, back then, they had Pac-Man machines, Gallagher. I was a fogger man. I thought I was bad. And I had but somebody gave me a cheat code on Gallagher. That was one of the spaceship type video games. And you could go just slide your ship all the way to the left, and no bullet would ever hit you. That was a cheat code. Now you couldn't shoot though. Like if you wanted to go use the restroom, just slide all the way to the left, they'll fly with nobody hit you. That was a cheat code. And then some other games, Pac-Man, had a cheat code on Pac-Man, which way you can go, run this route, you'll never run into one of those Pac-Man. That's a cheat code in life. Now guess what? A lot of people, when they get certain cheat codes, it boosts their self-esteem for some people. Because they got past a certain thing, now they can go focus on other things. But a cheat code doesn't necessarily yield you the luxury of being able to solve other problems. You just solved that temporary one, and you needed help. Somebody else gave you that cheat code. So you didn't develop and invent it on your own. That's being a problem solver. You just simply got a temporary, put a Band-Aid on a problem. And you didn't get it out the mud. So guys, these kids, if one of them is glowing with signs of depression, they're introverted, that doesn't mean they're depressed, but you just got to be able to make these kids conversate with you. Most of their conversations are through the electronic devices. Ask them questions. When you go watch basketball with these young people, ask them questions, basketball related questions. That way you can get them to talking. And that way it can help both sides to teach or educate each other things about the other. That's the thing. So now, our hearts and prayers go out to the family of Dominique Wright, who felt the need as a teenager to go and write, to conspire for his brother to go to the store, to leave and go to the store to get some items that you wanted, to write a letter, to go get the pistol, open it, make sure the bullet's in there, make the phone, grab the cell phone, make a phone call, and then allegedly pull the trigger. That's a lot. That's a lot. You can help these young men to be able to help other young men. Help these young men to be able to have conversations that other than basketball. Some people feel like they can't even talk to you unless they talking sports. To me, that's nothing more disrespectful. You think that's the only thing that we can talk about? So sooner or later, when they start talking and ask you questions about basketball, then you flip and ask them questions about something else that you're interested in. We got to start talking, though. You guys know that. Got to. Got to. So now, as we move forward, I'm gonna ask you guys to share the show if you haven't done so. Give us a thumbs up if you're on the. Give us a thumbs up, man, if you're on that YouTube page. And we get ready to talk a little. Spring Icebreaker talk. The schedule is out. You can download the RCS Sports app and get it on there. We'll put it up on the website. I'll put it up on there in about an hours, in the next couple of hours. And I looked today, this morning, and I saw a tweet, right? And this tweet is from Alex Pugh. And it says, he's sitting here going through this RCS Sports app to view the Spring Icebreaker schedules, and I'm a little confused. Is money being handed out if won, and folks signing up for the showcase games? WTH. I thought the name of the game was Get Money. Right? Then he goes, he said, I guess it's easier to ask the parents to donate and fundraise than it is to ask the players to play with pride and compete. Houston, we have a problem. Who chooses not to play, parentheses, compete, for the money? Kids aren't making those decisions. That's what he wrote. Right? I guess that's a meaning of going through scheduling. Some teams have the option to play showcase versus tournament. In some of the defense, some teams nowadays just don't want to be in the gym all weekend. But I have a solution for that as well. If that be the case, all you do is let me know. Because have you ever heard of super pools? I can put them same team that you're looking for and put y'all in the same pool. And then back in the old days, some teams would tell me, Jim, we'll play the pool games, but don't worry, we don't worry about the bracket. Then that means those other teams can still proceed and go into the bracket play, and you still can get a chance to play them. That was a time before showcase games, and which it is an alternative for some teams to play in a bracket. There was also a time when people and teams felt compelled that they couldn't afford to miss the spring icebreaker. Times change. This was in grassroots basketball in Houston. When you're talking about events, non-scholastic events, the story could not be told without 3 events being mentioned. I'm guaranteeing 2 of those 3 events, grassroots, will have a common denominator with them. Once again, the history of grassroots basketball events. Grassroots basketball events. You know what? I go and I stretch it. I say 4. 4 events that historically, non-scholastic events, well, 2 categories. In all fairness, we'll give categories. One would be team-oriented, grassroots teams. One would be individual-oriented. So, team-oriented, 3. Kingwood Classic. You can't tell the history of grassroots basketball for teams without mentioning the Kingwood Classic. Right? The history. You would go into the Pearland Classic. Had a hell of a day. You can't tell the history of grassroots basketball because that was the first event that gave the south side of Harris County a space, to realize, on an initiative, an inspiration for a lot of kids to play basketball. The George McClellan Invitational, the GMI. You can't tell the history of grassroots basketball without mentioning the GMI. And last but not least, the Spring Icebreaker. Spring Icebreaker, you can't tell it because you can't tell the history of this city properly without mentioning that event. Sure, it's not what it used to be pre-COVID, but on this particular weekend is still the biggest tournament in the state on this particular weekend. So it reigns supreme. A lot of the star designer name programs, they don't feel the need. They don't feel the need. Like you felt you needed to be somewhere. Somewhere you might be tired. I might have to go somewhere. I don't feel like doing it, but you needed to do it, and that's what a lot of teams play. But at the same time, a lot of teams that during the yesteryears couldn't really afford to miss it. Now, it's not so. That's the difference. Not so. So now, those are I gave you: Kingwood Classic, Pearland Classic, GMI, Spring Icebreaker. That's your Mount Rushmore of team-oriented grassroots events in Greater Houston. Period. I'm curious to see, did I miss one? If you got one on that list, what comes off that list? If you add one, what event comes off that list if you think of one that existed? Now, I'll take you and give you one that was individual based. Meaning that your team doesn't put together and you came and played in this. I'll give you 4 of those. That you can't talk about, that the book can't be written properly about the history of grassroots basketball without mentioning these individual events. Some would be AKA camps. I'll give you one, which is the granddaddy of them all, because the concentration of local talent probably has been, the percentage wise, probably has never been eclipsed. And this was the Houston Gold mechanism back in the days with Jack Thompson, and Ray Marshall, and all those guys, and of course the pedophile. You guys know I'm talking about from Houston back in the day. Individuals eventually were placed on teams. The All-Stars were placed on teams, and they would go and play in the BCI Nationals in Phoenix, Arizona, representing this area with a gold, silver, and or a bronze All-Star team. So that would be, I would think, the granddaddy. Right? Do your homework, for many of you guys didn't. Ask around some of these old OGs. Anybody over 50 years old knows if they were a hooper, they lived in this city, you got invited to just get an opportunity to be one of those All-Stars to go. That would be one. Individual camps. The history can't be told without John Lucas's camps. You can just put it's a bundle. We'll put it as a bundle because he has more than one. Started off with the Camp Right Way, then the International Middle School Combine, then the Southwest Invitational Camp. Then went from that, but then all the way down, so John Lucas Camp. That would be just one plural way to singularize it. Can't tell us history of this city without mentioning those. Another one, would be Rucker on Wood. Rucker on Wood was so good that people felt they had to be there. That's like when people call each other, hey man, you going? Nah, man, I can't miss that, man. You got your invite? So the people and the grown folk made it feel like it was a privilege because they validated it. Man, Rucker on Wood, man, I can't. People, that's what happened. People came out in droves to just watch these individuals go at it. It used to be shirt and skin, guys. Shirts and skin. People watched them just go at it. When Rucker on Wood started, it started with 2 college coaches in the building. Yeah. Kids felt they had to be there. Parents didn't really know about it, but the kids let them know. Mom, like just like saying they need them pair of J's. I know a kid can make you feel like they have to have them, and in your mind, like, man, you ain't got it. What you need them for? And you don't understand. I got, man, just please. So they're making you understand their sincere desire to occupy that status that might bring them. That's what happens. Going to Rucker on Wood was that. Then it morphed and evolved because some kids the numbers grew. It used to be free. And then so we thought of a way that made it smarter. Say my camera guy, my tech guy will say, well, man, you know, I can get pictures for the magazine at Rucker on Wood. Well, I was like, well, hell, we'll charge $5 to get in. That way they can pay for the camera guy's services. That's basically what it was for years. It's $5. Then it got too packed, and I say, well, we need to hire security. So let's go from $5 to $10. Pay for to keep this thing safe. That's how it went up to 10. And more people, because the grown folk validated it. Yeah. As opposed to, as time progressed into post-COVID, there are a lot of things that grown folk is more and more grown folk envious. Men with sissified ways. They will devalue now. What they know is valuable for these kids and families. You devalue it. Oh, you ain't gotta go to that. But you don't go to that for me. You don't need to go there. They don't do it but a bunch of filing. So then we started hiring referee on each court just to keep things going smooth. Put a referee on each court. Start, getting a DJ in the building. Back in the days, it had caught the attention of Rucker Park, the company that has the licensing. That's how Rucker on Wood caught their attention, and these people actually called me, and with an attempt to get me to cease and desist this Rucker on Wood. True story. So I immediately went, well, first By the time I got off the telephone, me and those two gentlemen from New York, one of them was with the Rucker, I forgot the organization or the foundation or whatever we was with, and the other one was with And One. Back then they had the And One sports tour, whatever the mixtape tour was popular. It was a good fad, it had a good run. And they were the ones that sponsored the product for that circuit, that, you know, the traveling crew of highlight makers. And by the time I got off the phone with those two gentlemen, the guy with Rucker had agreed to fly down to Houston, and the And One guy agreed as well. And they understood the purpose and the mission and what I was on, as far as what I wasn't on. And they knew they was talking with a real one. We talked for almost 2 hours that day. And when one of them came down, they came at different times. But then one of them ended up coming to Ruck on Wood, the next one. And when he came and walked in that building, it was almost like he got an anointing, like in the church house. He had goosebumps on his arm. It was immediately within 10 minutes. First thing he said, "Can we give y'all some jerseys, some uniforms?" I say, "Sure." I say, "But we can give 100." I say, "Well, if you give them 100, we do 2 sessions, and how they gonna get dry while the other guys come in? Well, we'll give you 2 sets of uniforms. As long as we make them where they not be tucked in an And One. That's good marketing." And the way that they printed those uniforms, whatever fabric they use, that's been at least 15, 16 years having those uniforms. And not a single one of those uniforms has faded. I don't know what material it is, but it's not, and it's like you can't scratch, you can't feel none of it's embedded into the stuff. It's almost like a dry fit fabric, but it's like it's whatever it is. None of them. So my point, and then they gave a deal. We worked out a deal because they embraced it. Ruck on Wood. But the way that I got around it was not called Rucker Park on Wood. So you can't come at me because I was creative enough to solve that before it even happened. But when I got off the phone with them, I immediately made one phone call and somebody gave me some advice. That you got a trademark, and I immediately went and trademarked Ruck on Wood. I went and paid the money and had a trademark. I was late I should have did the same thing with the spring icebreaker. But didn't. So that means other people duplicated the name. But it can't never be but one Ruck on Wood. If you know of one, you let me know, and boy, we can go eat. If they don't comply with the cease and desist. But I just want to give you guys some good history on events that you can't tell the history of that city without those events being named. Team events, individual based events, right? And you mentioned it from Solomon Bryan says the J. Parker BCI, I described that earlier. Only the best from each school was selected. They put the best under each roof, under that one roof. They went at it. Then you expected the top ones from those, and that's who went and represented the city. One pot. But then one guy got to coach the gold team, one guy was coaching the silver, one guy's coaching the bronze, and guess what? And the city existed. Many kids, there was no social media back then whatsoever. There wasn't even no cell phones back then. You had to know the number of the payphone that was nearby where everybody hung out at. That's how you got in touch with that person. You call that cell phone number. If you had that cell phone, you knew about where he was at. 3-4 numbers you had. And then when you make that call, if your ass wasn't at home, it cost you a dime to make that call before it went to 25 cents later on in life. Everybody can say one parent was made to believe it cost $5 for some people. Yeah, work on wood was so hot that people actually were bootlegging spots. They were bootlegging spots until the spring, until the rock on wood. I never bootleg my own spots. I didn't pull a Ticketmaster or a Live Nation type deal. People, individuals. You know? Paul Merner said, we got the arch, they got the golden arch. They got the sesame seed on the bun, we got, yeah. Uh-huh. Michael Jordan say, Hustle Man to sell and one mixtape at the barbershops on the set. Yeah. It was guess what? So you think about it, and this is how you can keep some kids tapped in. They can understand what used to be, and we don't do it until it's an opportune time, and we try to force feed it down their throats. And the kids ain't trying to hear it, and we trying to force feed it down their throat. Just because you cook, just because you prepared a meal, that don't mean the person is hungry. That's why it's communicating is good and getting these people, young people to talk. Young blood, you hungry? Yeah, yes sir. No, I mean you hungry for some knowledge. Give you a quick story. Get in the car, let me show you something. You try to create conversations with these young people that you think that they would never ever forget as long as they live. That would be the key. Try to create them conversations. Right? And as you do so, it's going to keep them, it could light a fire inside of them to want to get more knowledge from you. Then you got to give them the history. Brief history. You got to feed them, and you got to slice that pizza up. Not quarters, not eighths, maybe 16ths. Slice it up. Dice it sometimes. For some people, their attention span ain't the same. The more you talking, the more notifications they missing off of TikToks and IGs. So that's it. I see you, Goree Allen Jr. in the Chop Shop in the building. Shout out to him. Doug Jones up in there, he says, ain't no event like the Spring Icebreaker. That, guys, it takes place this weekend. I can tell you something about the Spring Icebreaker. We got right at 200 teams, right? Like 194, something like that. 195. This was the first year in a very long time I made a vow to myself. I made a pledge to myself. And I said, and I meant it. It feels good when you make a pledge to yourself and you are able to succeed at holding true to whatever you promised yourself that you would or would not do. Some of you guys might want to try that. That way it can help reinforce what's inside of you. Mentally, if nothing else. Well, my vow to myself was, I said I would not beg or vigorously recruit any team to come play in the spring icebreaker. I vowed that I would not do that, because if you got to beg them to come, then you're going to have to beg them to stay. I've studied it, and it's stuff. Nothing holds more closer to the truth. Dealing with the muddy waters of grassroots basketball. If you beg them to come, sooner or later you have to beg them to stay. And people want to be. I should not have to recruit you in order to possibly give you $1,000. I got $1,000 laying on the table. I shouldn't have to lure you with a carrot to come get this $1,000. Especially to many of those teams would be whining and crying in a couple of months about how they need some funds to go here. Well, you could help yourself. It's like that tweet said that Alex Pugh put out. And man, guys, I'm just thinking, guys. Just thinking. I mentioned the spring icebreaker. It's, I'll tell you one thing. Like I said, I did not recruit, did not beg a single team. There ain't a team out there in the world that can say I sat there and begged them to come to the spring, to this year. So I didn't have to beg, I didn't have to borrow, I didn't have to deceive, I didn't have to trick nobody, I didn't have to make no barter, and still attracted 5 teams short of 200 teams. So that lets me know, and that many people and many organizations are speaking with their dollars. They want a well-ran event. They want a well-organized event. They want a safe venues with air conditioning blowing in each gym. They want games starting on time pretty much. They don't want to be stuck in the gym all night long. I heard somebody say, well, man, Hicks, in case you guys didn't know, on Saturday, our last game of the day is at 3:30. On Saturday. This Saturday. Start at 9 o'clock in the morning. Now we're on 21 courts. 21 courts. But the last game of the day on all courts, 3:30. That means by 5 o'clock, I will have untied my shoes and or have a glass of ice in my hand. And it will enable these, first, I've done that, it enables my staff to go get well rested. I know I've studied these events, and a lot of times you got long hours. They're not working part-time shifts. That same door person that's there at 9 o'clock at night, that's the same lady that was there at 8 o'clock this morning. And she got to be back at 8 in the morning. She not going to get home at 11:30. So you enable those people to get well rested, so because customer service matters with our events. Being able to, your hospitality matters at our events. So that's one way. Then I start thinking about the teams from out of town. There's always going to be a kid that ain't never been to Houston before. So it's spring break. Factor in time that everybody can go to the carnival or the rodeo if they wish. They don't have to worry about which day. You can make your you can go on whichever day you want on that Saturday or that Friday. That means you don't have to play on Friday. This is things I factor in when I'm doing my events. I factor this stuff real wholeheartedly. And people know. But, and I guess some people hate, they say, well, man, we don't want to tell him it's a good job because he might start bragging. I don't purposely go out my way to just brag on something just because a person say good job. I say thank you now. Now, if it gets a time where it's time to educate somebody, then I need to educate them because not many people out there are willing to educate on my behalf. So I have to educate and remind people. So that may be the reason why so many people want me to stay hushed up or don't say nothing. You ain't got to say that. Well, hell, ain't nobody else. These young kids don't know who I am and the road that I've traveled. Maybe if some of you grown folk would tell them, know what would happen? You know what would happen then. If many of these kids knew my story, they probably would love me like no other. As far as love my admiration. Because they would know now, oh man, he really got it out the mud. But you don't want to share that only because your ego gets in the way of you don't want me to smile too much. You don't want me to smile too much. So that means you don't want me to win. And that's the fundamental element of this stuff. And if you don't want me to win, and it goes over a period of time, then you will subconsciously make yourself believe that I don't want you to win. So you start thinking it into existence. Then you believe, man, he got something against me. I don't like, But in truth be told, Negro, I don't even know you. I haven't spent a fraction of the amount of time thinking about whatever you're doing versus how much real estate I occupy in the minds, in some of y'all's minds. For the wrong reasons. Guys, I'm what they call an OG, I guess, in this stuff. I try to help people. I try to get people pay raises for a living. I really try. I try to put somebody in the room with somebody. That way now I think y'all might be. That's what OGs sometimes of this game try to do. I learned that much from George Raveling. I learned that from George. And by the way, shout out to George. It's his new book just came out. What you made for? He sent this. He even signed the book and everything on the inside. Right? Brand new. You can get it on Amazon. Powerful life lessons from the legend himself. Yeah, match my brim too. How about that? Match my brim, guys. Yeah, but I think you guys get what I'm saying. And I just wish, and that's the element, and not to saying it don't exist other places, but if you guys didn't know me, I try to put people in position to win. And then also I try to put people in a position to try to help advance. Hey man, we got a job for you here, got a job for you there. I try to make people advance. Because this stuff right here, I'm at an age I ain't going or attempting to go or have no desire to go and be on no coach's staff. So that's not, but many of you young people, that's opportunities for y'all. You know? But you have to be able to find a space inside of you that it would bring joy when other people are victorious in life. That's the ticket in this stuff. That's the real ticket. And one day it may happen. But all of us have work to do. I know people out there and they looking, they waiting, well, why didn't you got the, guess what? Many of you people, you cry, and I told you to be careful what you wish for. You said get a lot of the old heads out the way. OGs, everybody need to sit on to the side. Well, a lot of things that I've been doing as of late it has enabled me to try to move out the way. I got out the left lane, signaled over to the middle lane, and then I got over in the right lane. Now mind you, my car is a twin turbo. I can still go fast or faster than you in that right lane. I just maintain the option that if you felt you can go fast, you want to get somewhere, go ahead on and get somewhere. I'm not in your way. So then, what's the problem? Many of the older guys are not in the way. You're creating and being innovative and creating a different way to exist. But then, if you're not a good person, it's going to precede you and it's going to follow you. If you're not a good person. And that's real talk in this stuff. Lastly, of course, we got a couple of comments that of course on the screen. Doug Jones said, no event like the spring icebreaker. Yeah, icebreaker's been good, man. It's been good. But I'm gonna tell you right now, I warn you guys. This was what I thought was my 25th spring icebreaker. Midway through last year, Doug Jones reminded me that we canceled the icebreaker. The city of Houston canceled the icebreaker the week of or the week before because of COVID in 2020. So there was no icebreaker that year. So next year would technically be my 25th spring icebreaker. Next year will be epic for this event. I'm just telling you guys. I've got a lot of stuff I'm working on, and a lot of things I had actually gotten confirmations and got commitments from a few sneaker name brand teams from the East Coast and the West Coast that were coming this year. But then I realized I want to wait. I'd rather cash that favor in when it matters. Next year's the 25th, not this year. Miscalculated next year. So this means I know how the game go. A lot of them summer teams, kind of like a couple of weeks ago, the Night Riders have a big President's Day tournament. And a lot of teams want to play in it because they want the opportunity to play against some of the Night Riders team and some of the teams that it may attract from out of town, which next year's spring icebreaker is going to attract some really big fish, because those guys, the respect factor, you only have one 25th, you only have one silver anniversary, and I want to get a committee. If somebody, some different, I mean the committee, because for me to make this thing work like I envision, I can't have that much hands-on with doing a roast and toast. It would take a committee to put that together. So if somebody's interested, and I can put people with people, and y'all can make the committee. I don't need to have. I'm not supposed to have any direct involvement with a roast and toast of me, who to speak, who's not going to speak, that takes a committee. And if somebody, that's what I envision. I don't have many years left in this stuff, man. So, I think 25 years of doing this stuff, and plus, you've earned the right to at least have a splash. And so that would be the great thing as far as giving back. And you give back your time and have your team to make the icebreaker like it used to be one last time. If not, turning the corner with it. Then that would mean something for this culture and for the city. Because once people start going and they're there, people know you're going to that party, that's what you're going to do, then guess what? They're going to make a decision, they're going to come to the party as well. But if you don't, and you know this is a very special occasion, and you're out and about, then that means you're making a statement with your actions. I'm not gonna be mad at you. I'm gonna appreciate the ones that came, but don't you dare expect any favors, especially less than premium rate from me. As in going. And lastly, I want to thank a lot of those programs that decided to support the spring icebreaker this year. Too many to name, but I just named the ones with multiple teams in it. It's a team the programs that put, let's say, 7 or more teams in it, in the icebreaker, and they would be limited. They would include, I would say, 7 or more teams. The One Nation program. Thank you to you guys. 7 or more teams. I don't want too many with 4. I'm just thinking about the 7 or more. I'm looking through the list. Epic Academy, thanks to you guys. Fam Elite, thanks to you guys. The Gulf Coast Blue Chips, thanks to you guys. The Houston Hoops, thanks to you guys. I'm naming, just tune in, I'm naming the teams that put 7 or more teams, the organizations, the programs within the Spring Icebreaker, right? 7 or more. Nike Pro Skills out of San Antonio, thanks to you guys. And thanks to Jeff Webster up in DFW for encouraging that program to come and support Spring Icebreaker. 7 or more teams. The Shooting Stars, local base, thanks to you guys, man. Thanks. And last but not least, the Texas Takeover program, thanks to you guys. It's awesome, man. Appreciate all you guys we've done, and also give a thanks out, even a thanks to, want to let you guys understand that the water has, I would say, has been cleared, and the wrinkles are being ironed out, to the fact that even Brian Jolivet with Above All Sports program has came and supported the Spring Icebreaker. So this year, you can go check the schedule out on the RCS Sports app. It's going to be some good games. You're not stuck in the gym all day long. I know you teams noticed that, and I hope you appreciate the efforts. I could have condensed and gave up some of my facilities in order to go later in the evenings, but I choose not to. It's well worth it, better served to do this. That way you can have a better experience and rest. I just, and I get it. I'm not saying 3:30 should be the average, the time that anybody should cut off, but I just get it, not going deep into the night. It's spring break, man. You shouldn't have to play a game at 11 o'clock in the morning, play another at 6 o'clock in the evening. You're held hostage on spring break. Just want to get that in there. Also, before we go, I want to remind you guys, you can go and download the KTSU app. Download that app, and you can check out TSU, because they need your help right now. The men's